Hello everyone. Okay, I hope you've all had a wonderful, I'll put my picture, a wonderful half term. Okay then, so this video is going to be one of a couple I'm going to do today about New Labour and the Labour Party, because what we're going to do this week is get the Labour Party all done and dusted. So it means next week we can then start the Liberal Democrats and look at emerging and other parties. So, what you should have done for over half term was that work on Old Labour versus New Labour. If you remember from your booklet, there was some stuff you had to do on something called Clause 4. This was part of Labour's constitution, their rule book, if you like. And Clause 4 was a controversial one because it was written in 1918. And as you can see here, it's quite kind of socialist in many ways, isn't it? Talking about the workers by hand or brain should take full benefits of their industry, i.e. work, and the most equitable distribution. That means the most equal distribution in terms of money, ownership and all that type of stuff. And Tony Blair got rid of that in 1995, replaced with this one, which is much more kind of, I don't know, about the free market, isn't it? Dynamic economy, market and rigour of competition, opportunity for all. It's a very different kind of beast to the one which was introduced in 1918. Now, some say that he did this as a strategic kind of token type of thing to take on the left of the party, prove he was something different, and therefore prove to the electorate he was different. Some say this was a real change which Tony Blair made to the Labour Party. So you can take that where you like, but I think it's only changed his image. This is someone new, someone different, someone who's going to push the party in a much more centralist, even some would say conservative kind of direction. Okay, so what I'd like to do from this video is basically this work here, which is to what extent was New Labour different to Old Labour? And what we're going to do, I'm going to send you this sheet. Let me find it. Here we go. These are some of the policies and some of the things which New Labour did when they were in power. So this is something which Blair did in government. So you got introduced the minimum wage, war with Iraq and Afghanistan, failed to reverse Thatcher's restrictions on trade unions, Disability Discrimination Act, cut higher rate of tax, free admission to museums, blah, 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 blah. All things which Tony Blair did in the 10 years he was Prime Minister. He did more than this, by the way. These are just some of the things I quite quickly found out. Now, what I'd like to do in your workbook, you've got this sheet or this page. To what extent was New Labour different to Old Labour? On the left, you've got Old Labour. There's Michael Foot next to Tony Benn. And on the right, you've got Gordon Brown having a nice little chat there to Tony Blair. What I'd like to do, from that previous sheet I've just shown you, so from this one, any of these policies which you think Old Labour would have been happy with, they have like a strong whiff, if you like, of Old Labour to them, put on the left-hand side of that page, that continuum, and anything which you think is something which Old Labour would not approve of, is fairly Thatcherite, you might argue, certainly right of centre, place on the right hand side as being something different. So anything which Old Labour would have liked, but on the left hand side, anything which New Labour showed they were very different to Old Labour, put on the right hand side. Anything which you think, perhaps I don't know, you're not too sure of, just leave out. We could have a chat about them when we have a Teams lesson later in the week. Like the war with Iraq and Afghanistan, for example, we probably won't know, actually. Old Labour were against it, during the time it happened, but we don't know whether that would have been their position in the past. So one like that might go in the middle. But yeah, anything that you don't know, that's fine. We'll have a chat about it when we have a Teams meeting later in the week. But hopefully from that, you should get some idea actually how different was New Labour to Old Labour. Was it just Old Labour repackaged, or was it fundamentally different? So it'll help you with those sorts of questions. So that's what I'd like to do first of all. I'm going to make another video in a couple of minutes, which is going to have a look at how far was... Actually, I might do it now. How far was New Labour actually Thatcherite? No, I'll do it as another video. So there'll be another video I'll make in a few minutes about Thatcherism and New Labour. Okay, so I'll speak to you shortly.